Greetings to Professor Dalan and Ms. Amy. So our group is going to present the webinar titled How Can Be a Marketer? Presenters are Con Chemin, Lu Hui Kun, Wen Jiawen, Gresla Hui Su, and Lua Pei Ling. So now I will be explaining the objective of this webinar. By the end of the season, you will recognize consumer psychology of the lecture of consumerism and marketing. Second, understand the decision-making process of consumers and learn how to be a great marketer by understanding the concept and criteria. Last but not least, able to identify factors that affect consumer purchasing decisions. So moving on to the first part of the webinar, introduction, will be explaining by me. So we will discuss the concept or definition of these two phrases is the consumer psychology as well as the consumer behavior. So consumer psychology is the study of individuals, groups, or organization and the processes that they use to select, secure, use, and dispose of products, services, experiences, or ideas to satisfy needs and the impact that these processes have on the consumers and society. Solomon, 2004. And what does it mean, consumer behavior? Consumer behavior refers to mental and physical activities that consumers engage in when searching for, evaluating, purchasing, and using products and services, called 2007. So after we know that what consumer psychology and consumer behavior is, we will look on online news by Borneo Post Online titled COVID-19 Changes Consumer Buying Behaviors, which is published on 2020, April 26. So basically this online news is discussing about the changes that brought to consumer buying behaviors. So it is so here's the phrase extract from the news is that it is clear that the movement control order MCO have had an impact on what people buy and how they buy it, but also how much they buy when they go shopping. So they actually from this news that stated that people started to purchase more on raw materials for cooking, household cleaners, and toilet papers. Basically, these are all necessities. And because of the restrictions imposed by governments for the MCO, people tend to less spending on dining in restaurant, fast food restaurant, as well as to have all those recreation activities such as watching movies at the cinemas. So we look onto the right side. Here's a figure. It is from the Department of Statistics Malaysia. On the same year, the DOSM actually conducted the study on the impact movement MCO to household expenditure. So if you have a look into this graphic, is that the total expenditure actually decreased almost half of it, which is from 6,317 ringgit Malaysia and decreased to 2,813 ringgit, as well as the total consumption expenditure decreased around 40%, which is from 4,033 ringgit to 2,110 ringgit. And if we have a closer look into these columns, we will find out that only the food and non-alcoholic beverages increase at the when Malaysia are having MCO, which is increased around 27% from 924 ringgit increase to 726 ringgit, and others like non-necessities like alcoholic beverages, clothing, housings, as well as furnishing are all decreased at that moment. And services provided for this provided for the society like transport, recreation, and restaurants, because as mentioned before, the restrictions by the government, set by government. So these are all things which been influenced in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. So now I will pass the floor to Loa Pei Ling to discuss on the significance of consumer behavior.
Thank you, Grace. Hi, everyone. I'm your second speaker of the day. My name is Loa Pei Ling, BP191104 from Petra team. So welcome again to our webinar, How Can Be a Marketer. As we all know, serving as marketing professionals is not an easy task. Therefore, on upcoming 10 minutes, I shall brief you all about the consumer behavior, its significance and rationale, as well as consumer decision-making process. So without further ado, let's check it out. So basically, the study of consumer behavior is a subject that explains the basic questions that a normal consumer may face in their daily life, such as what to buy, why to buy, when to buy, where to buy from, how often to buy, last but not least, how are they going to use it. Therefore, by understanding the consumer behavior, we may identify whom to target based on their social demographics details, what to reach them, such as what kind of products, what kind of quality or standard that our product must be equipped with to present to our targeted audience, targeted customers, when to reach them, like when are we going to launch or promote our products to the targeted audience, and last but not least, how, which is meaning to say, what is the way are we going to do to target the market. Therefore, I believe that until this stage, some of you might question why we need to analyze all these things. Do they matter? So my answer is yes, it matters. It meant a lot, because the first reason why we need to analyze the consumer behavior is because it can help us to identify the factors that consumers' purchasing choices and let us know how to recognize the market demand. For example, what influences the consumers to select in between various options. After we understand and know about the market demand, we may offer the products that may maximize customer satisfaction and fill in the gap in the marketplace. Last but not least, a healthy demand and supply relationship may be established if we have a very clear understanding about the consumer behavior. So, in short, studying consumer behavior is a process through which a consumer makes purchase decisions, as well as to use and dispose of purchased goods or services, also includes the factors that influence purchase decisions and product use. All right, moving forward, let's look at the consumer decision-making process. So the first stage is the need recognition. So basically, the marketing helps consumers recognize an imbalance between present status and their preferred state. So it also includes the recognition of an unfulfilled need of a product. So the unfulfilled need here refers to the situation when a current product cannot perform properly, or maybe the consumer is running out of an product, or another product seems better than what is currently using. So this is the first stage, have to identify the need. So next, it comes to the information search. So in this stage, there are two different situations. One is internal state and another one is external. So internal information search refers to the process of recalling past information stored in the memory, while external wise, it refers to the process of seeking information in the outside environment. Okay, so now we are moving to the third stage, which is the evaluation of alternative. So basically here meant that when the consumer have the evoke set meaning they have a variety of items that are chosen preferred items, which probably consists of several brands or pattern. Then the consumer will then evaluate and analyze each of the product's attribute, and maybe they will cut off the criteria or rank the attribute by importance, so to evaluate which item is the most suitable to them. Okay, so now we are moving to the next stage, is purchase stage. So here is the stage that the consumer have to decide whether buy or not buy. All right, so if the consumer that decided to buy the items or product, it will come to our fifth stage, which is the consumer's post-purchase evaluation process. So in this process, basically is to evaluate whether it is a good decision or right product, or are they gain the good value after they purchase these products. All right, so normally it would come to another phenomenon which is called cognitive dissonance. All right, so the cognitive dissonance, which is refers to an inner tension consumer experiences after they realize that, okay, there's an inconsistent behavior and also the values or opinions after they buy the products. Okay, so but no worries, because this cognitive dissonance can be encountered and also minimized through the effective communication, follow-up, guarantees, and even the warranties. All right, so as a summary for this section, customer behavior is a complex and multi-dimensional process. It is also typically influenced by different elements. Buying decisions, consumption patterns, and disposal decisions are all integral parts of consumer behaviors. Thus, to be a great marketer or marketing professionals should conduct research on customer purchase patterns, as well as identify customer trends in order to fill the gap of market and enhance consumer satisfaction and experience. Last but not least, it's also very crucial to understand the concept of consumer decision-making process. So that's all from me. Thanks for your attention. Now, I shall pass the floor to upcoming presenters for more interesting topics. See ya!
Alright, so after knowing the significance of consumer behavior, let us learn on how to be a great marketer. And this part will be discussed by Wong Jia-wen and I. I'm Hui Kun, and I will present a part of the segmentation, targeting, positioning, STP, marketing model. Actually, there are many different types of consumer with many various types of needs. So each marketer must speak the market and select the best segments and then come up with the effective strategy. And the most common effective strategy is the segmentation, targeting, and positioning STP marketing model. So there are three segments in this STP model. So the first one is market segmentations. What is market segmentations? Market segmentations is the divisions of a market into distinct groups of consumers who have different needs, characteristics, or behavior. So, for example, alright, so the most common segmentations variable includes demographics, which including consumer age, gender, their marital status, and also their ethnicity. Second one is geography, which are about consumer city, regions, and their country. Third one is psychographics. So this involves their personality traits, habits, hobby, and also their attitudes. And the fourth one is values. So this segment is including their politic background, their religions, and their cultural belief. Last one is life is a segment of life stages. So basically it is about their work status and also their education status. So that's all the common segmentations variable. All right, so move to the segment number 2, market targeting. So market targeting is a process of determining the preference of each market segments and picking one or more segments to enter. So for example, as we can see in the picture here, there is a Yakult brand in a shopping mall. And we can see that Yakult provides a variety of flavor to cater to a wide range of preference. So this is an example for market targeting. So next is the third segment of STP model is market positioning. So each marketer one unique market positioning for their own products. Therefore, if a product is considered to be similar to others on the market, consumer will see no reason to purchase it. So basically, positioning is about how you differentiate your product or your company, why a consumer will pay extra for your product. So as a result, marketers must establish their position that separate their products from other competing brands. So let's see the example here. So the example provided here is a car brand, Kia. So as we can see that Kia separates itself by claiming to surprise their consumer with its offerings. So that's all from me. And now I will pass the floor to Jiawen.
Okay, thank you, Hui Kun, for explaining the STP strategy. Now I will teach you how to set the pricing strategies. So next, I will introduce, they got 10 pricing strategy, which are marketing pricing, loss leader, cost pricing, psychology pricing, demand, competitive pricing, bundle sales, skimming, markdown, and payment and delivery terms. So now I will explain one by one. The first one is marketing pricings. Marketing pricing is we set up the price or the product according to the market price. First, we want to survey what is the market price that for those products. So differential market have differential price setting. First of all, we want to understand the segmentation that just now explained by Hui Kun first. So example like the price of a Nasi Lemak is actually is different from a university and shopping mall, because we know that in university area most of them are students and the price will cheaper than the shopping mall. So that's why understanding a marketing pricing is important to fit it the segmentations. Next one, the second one is cost plus pricing. Okay, in this format we got a format want to jot down is this is also called markup pricing. The direct material cost add up by the direct labor cost and overhead cost plus already plus the amount of profits in percentage is equal to our final selling price. So the example I give in here is Uncle Bobby restaurant has designed a chicken chop that contain direct material of 3 ringgit 50 cent and the direct labor cost is 1 ringgit and allocated overhead is 2 ringgit 50 cent. The restaurant they apply 30% for the markup, which is the profits to all of the chicken chop. So the final selling price is for the chicken chop is 9 ringgit 10 cent. So this is what is the formula for the cost plus pricing for products. Okay, next I go to the third one is loss leader. Loss leader is selling a product or service price that not profitable to attract a new customer. This especially for a season that drop down the price until you feel like not earn too much for the product. For example, I give here eggs. Egg is a typically example of loss leader in supermarket during Easter. Easter is a festival most like in Western country because this research from Hoskin and refers from 2002 because the customer they will purchasing a large number of the egg to their children for the coloring. So they most of the big marketing, the supermarket, they will drop down the price to attract more customer to buy more the egg in their supermarket. But they also not suitable for small business owner because they have the rings. They has a ring there because they can't gain the profit more and also they can able to afford these costs. And the third one is the demand pricing. Demand pricing are pricing variable based on long period or high demand or low demand. The elastic pricing during those period. I give an example in Malaysia. We also know that the price of our in Malaysia is like the egg price will rise when the season coming soon. This one is photo retrieved from Utusan Digital. The title we can see that during Hari Raya Aidilfitri, the harga telur ayam will meningkat. Yeah, that's why they know because the demand of the egg or the demand of the chicken will more, so they increase the cost during that time. Next one is we are very familiar one is the bundle pricing. Bundle pricing also sell a package thing relevant or the same things, but it's in package. So sell a package for low price than they could charge if the customer bought all of them. Usually both products are related, such as the picture I given is the toothpaste or mouthwash by the Colgate company. So what is the benefit of this? Because the seller they can get more sold out for get more sold for this, and they can significantly increase the profit on the individual sales over time. Okay. And the next one is psychological pricing. Psychological pricing got two parts. The first part is prestige pricing, also known as premium pricing or image pricing. Most of them the cost is higher than the sales cost is higher than the normal one. Why? Because this is a premium price. Customer will know that high price is equal to high value default. So this most of happen in luxury brand and fine restaurant. We can see the two images that I put up is one is Tom Ford and Cotton On. They both sell white cotton, but Tom Ford cotton up to 715 15 ringgit in Malaysia. Yeah. However, the cotton on the white t-shirt only 30 ringgit and also got sell some more. What's the difference? Maybe the quality got different, but the price is a very big difference from there. So is it the people why the people will buy the Tom Ford one? Because some people will they afford to buy the 700 white tee because they find that uh he or she is well or classes to they identify their classes or the pretext. That's why the premium pricing also known as the image of a person to build up the significant identity. Okay. And the second one is the odd even pricing. They usually using a numeric value to impact customer perception of the product value. So we can see that Pizza Hut just show the advertisement only 1 ringgit and 90 cents only. Why? And she also put they also put 31 ringgit is cancelled it by the on the original price and 1 ringgit 90 cents, and she put the price bigger than the original one. These are the influence the perception of customer. And why they don't want to put 2 ringgit because we 1 ringgit 90 cents, the customer would think that oh this without for booking is only less than 1 ringgit more only. This is what the cognitive thinking of the customer also. So next I will go to the competitive pricing. They quite they try to differentiate what is the different the same although the same product what they try to differentiate what is the setting the price like is charging, such as they got good excellent service or they got lower price or faster delivery and good quality, so they can attract which one customer they need. So the example I take from this is Shopee. They got shop like lowest price and guarantee also, so people will feel like oh very secure to buy from this buyer because they got this such as logo. Yeah. Another one is payment and delivery term, which is stated the additional seller must key in the stated additional payments like service tax or SST clearly to customer, because this one we cannot obey it, and added delivery fee in a product. So a research I found that 9 out of 10 consumers say that free shipping is number one incentive. Actually, is it free shipping is totally free shipping? Actually, is no. And we can see the example from the picture there is 50 $50, but the shopping fee is $10 versus 60 and $60 and free shipping. Which one the customer will choose? I think totally is the right hand side, right? Because uh it look like got free shipping also. So that's why the method they were how a seller need to include the shipping fee into the product also. Yeah. And the next one I will talk about the skimming pricing. Skimming pricing is a product pricing strategy is a company charge a higher initial price that customers are willing to pay, and they gradually decrease that price over time. I can explain here is because when a new product they release in the marketing, and you are the one selling this product, or no competitive or less competitive company with you, we can set the price that higher price that customer that also able to pay it also. But over the time, the suddenly come out more company, more competitive company, like they also sell the same item. So in this time, when the quantitative the product in marketing, so you should lower down the price over the time. This called skimming pricing. And the last one is markdowns. Markdown is a price drop that occurs when a product fails to sell its original price. When you found the product in your shop or in your supermarket, it's hard to sell it up. You propose to clear it out the old product, so you will lower down the price. An example for a markdown would be if a material cost a pen drive. Yeah, a pen drive you buy is 70 ringgit and set the rental price is 90 ringgit. And it turned out the sale for a pen drive you found that it's very slow a few months, so you decided to mark down the price to 80 ringgit, which means you trying to adjust the profit. You decrease this because you want to selling out the product, clear stock like that. So that's all is my part for pricing strategy. Are you learning? Thank you.
All right. Thank you to our previous speaker, Wong Jawan. And me as the speaker 5, Kong Chemin, will continue this webinar with the title of Factors Affect Consumer Buying Decisions. All right, so first of all, let us see into this table. So basically, they have 4 factors, which included economic factor, cultural and social factor, psychological factor, and personal factor that will directly influence consumer decision-making process and directly also influence the decisions to buy or not to buy the products. So first of all, let us have a look into the consumer decision-making process. So basically, there have 5 steps for consumer decision-making process. So the first one is problem recognition, second, information search, third, alternative evaluations, fourth, purchase decisions, and the fifth one, post-purchase decision evaluations. So let me briefly explain on 5 of these steps. So the first step is problem recognition. So in this step, every sales will begin upon the consumer recognize something is incomplete or imperfect, and they will need to find a way to solve the problem occur. And into the next step is information search. So in this step, the consumer will aware of the issues or challenges and begin to search for informations or resolutions that can solve the problem occur. So next into the third step, which is alternative evaluations. In this step, the consumer already found the resolutions, but they are still looking for the best choices by examining each of it. Moving to the next step is purchase decisions. So during this step, the contemplations of consumer will turn into actions once the consumer making purchasing decisions. And the last step will be post-purchase decisions evaluations. So in this last step, the consumer will then evaluate whether the purchase item his or her decided to buy have met their needs or not. All right, so that's all for the consumer decision-making process. And now let us look into the first factors that influence consumer buying decisions, which is economic factor. All right, so first of all, economic factors. So basically, economic factor indicated that the economic situations of a consumer will affect their purchasing decisions as well as their choice on a specific brand or products. And there have a variety of economic factors, which consist of personal income, family income, income expectations, savings, consumers' credit, and another economic factors. All right, so all these economic factors stated will then influence an individual economic status, and indirectly, it will also influence their lifestyle and consume behavior. So for example, an individual with low income will possess unstable economic status, and indirectly, the consume behavior will more to buy the cheaper products than the expensive one within the same category. All right, so that's all for the economic factor. And now we will move into the second factor, which is culture and social factors that influence consumer decisions making process and then influence also the decisions whether to buy or not to buy the items. So into culture and social factor basically is the most effective factor on consumer buying behavior. And it is consists of the group, social network, online social network, and family members of an individual. And also the word of mouth marketing, WOMM, is also a part of social factor, which possess a strongest influence to the consumer buying behavior. All right, moving forward, these the examples of WOMM, which is Zappos Organizations, which is an online shoe and clothing retailer based in Las Vegas. So in real case, these Zappos organizations actually will send flowers to their customers and also upgraded their customers' VIP status after they heard their customer feet were injured through medical treatment. And also they provide a stellar customer service, which is embedded in every interactions between their customers and their organizations. And even when returning an item. For example, if someone they doesn't like the shoes they purchase from Zappos organizations, they can return the shoes with a free of charge service. And moving forward, the culture and social factor also indicated that a person will be more influenced by his or her family members on buying decisions rather than another person such as salesperson, because they will be more trusted on their own family members or someone who are very close to them, such as their friends, instead of someone they are not close to or not familiar with. So from this statement, we can know that actually the family members of friends or any individuals that very close to someone can play a very extremely important role in the influencing of someone's consuming behavior. And basically their suggestions or any recommendations on the products is a very crucial factors to the consumer behaviors of an individual. So for example, they have a case study about the consumers' behavior on green products have indicated the results that their consumers will be more likely to consume the Go Green product when their family members or friends influence them with the knowledge of the importance and the benefits on purchasing Go Green products. Yeah, so that's all for the culture and social factors. And next, we will move to the psychological factors that influence consumer decision-making process and decisions to buy or not to buy the products. All right, so for psychological factors, basically is the internal factors that influencing consumer buying decisions. And the consumers will feeling very excited when they have a new product be introducing in the markets because of their environment that influenced by another consumers such as their friends, their colleagues, and their family members. And basically they have 4 psychological factors included motivation, perception, learning, and memory. And all of these factors will be precisely described in the next section. All right, so first of all, let us have a look into the first psychological factor, which is motivations. So basically, every human will have their own needs, and the needs will direct motivate them to get the related things to satisfy their needs. And for this, we will use the Maslow hierarchy of needs as a reference for human needs at each level and what they will desire to consume at each level. So basically, they have 5 levels of needs, and the first one is physiological needs. So within this level, it includes of basic needs such as air, food, and water. And the second level is safety, which includes security and protection. And the third one, belongingness, includes the need to feel loved and be accepted by others. And the fourth one, ego needs, is to accomplish some things and have some status among others. And the last one, the 5th levels of needs is self-actualizations, which they want to feel self-fulfillment. So for each of these different levels, the consumers will try to seek and consume for the related things to satisfy their needs within each of these levels. All right, so that's all for the motivations. And next we will move to the second psychological factor, which is perceptions. So basically, perception is the most important part for psychological factors, and it is an action of motivation that affected consumer buying decisions. And here stated that a motivated person who have a very good response on the products will possess a very positive perceptions on it. While if a person have a very negative response towards a product, that will produce or possess of a very bad or negative perceptions on the products. And actually, the perceptions will made after informations collected by human sense, such as touch, smell, hear, taste, and feel from their surround environment. So, as an example for perceptions, person A think that a branded handbag Gucci is a high quality product, but person B think that is a very low quality product. So, referring to the difference on both of these perceptions, we can know that the person A will possess a very high possibility to purchase the product than the person B. So that's all for the perceptions. And next we will move to the third psychological factor, which is learning. All right, so basically learning will describe a behavior of a person and is a process in which a person responds at a given situations as his or her action will indicate what they have learned from the past. So for example, a consumer who bought a product in the past will learn and gain the experience about the advantages and also the disadvantages of the products purchased. And by this, if the product is good and bring more benefits to him or her, the consumer high possibility will decide to rebuy the products. But if the product is bad and possess a lot of shortcoming, the consumers might choose another products to buy rather than this product in the next time. All right, so the last psychological factors is memory. So for memory, they have a memory called priming memory, and this is the implicit memory effect in which exposure to a stimulus influences response to a later stimulus. And this memory can also influence consumer buying decisions. So as an example, a person saw a McDonald's advertisement on televisions 2 days ago, and he or she desired to consume for the food. And 2 days later, when he or she have an outing and see the McDonald's restaurant, they might possess a very high possibility on purchasing the food from the McDonald's restaurant. Yeah, so that's how the primary memory have working on consumer purchasing behavior. Right, so that's all for the psychological factors. And now we will move to the last factor that influence consumer decision-making process, which is personal factor. All right, so basically the personal factor will affecting the consumer buying behavior or decisions, and it consists of 4 sub-factors, which included age and stages of life cycle, occupation, personality, lifestyle, and values. So all of these sub-factors is the combinations of direct and indirect personal factors, and it will direct and indirectly affect the consumer buying behavior. So as we look into the first personal factor, which is age and stages of life cycle, we can know that the consumer buying behavior is always dynamic and change at a different stages of age and different stages of life cycle or different stages of relationship. And basically, a person will always change his or her taste on buying something at different age of life. So for example, a 30 years old woman will not buy a doll that play by a 5 years old children. Instead, will buy herself a cosmetic products that will need to use in her own workplace. And secondly, the different stage of life cycle or human relationships includes marriage, divorce, having children, children going to college, and retirement will also affect the consumer buying decisions. And the second personal factors is occupations. And occupation basically is also play a very important role on affecting consumer buying decisions. So for example, a businessman will buy more expensive goods or service if compared to another professionals. So moving forward to the personality factor, we can know that the personality of a consumer can be observed through his or her purchasing on some specific branded products, as those brands also consist of their own personalities, which included the sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. And from this, the buying decisions of consumer will be influenced by marketers who make strategies to influence them according to their own personalities. So moving to the last personal factors, it is lifestyle and values. So basically, a lifestyle of a person will create a different image in the society, and a consumer does not only buy a product, but also buy their lifestyle as well. So for example, if an individual possesses a minimalist lifestyle in his or her daily life, they might reduce their purchasing on the item that occupy their living space and maintain the minimalist lifestyle in their daily life. All right, so that's all for the factors that influence consumer buying decisions. So as we look back into this table, we can conclude that there are 4 factors, which included economic factor, cultural and social factor, psychological factor, and personal factors will influence the consumer decision-making process that consists of 5 decision-making process and directly will influence the consumer decisions to buy or not to buy the items or the products. All right, so that's all for my part. And next, I will pass back to Grace for the conclusion for this webinar. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kong. So now proceed with the last part of the webinar is to recap the whole season for what we have shared. First, the definition of consumer psychology and consumer behavior, as well as related with the context of COVID-19 pandemic. Second, to understand the importance of study and analyze the consumer behavior as well as the consumer behavior decision making, so that for marketers, they will know the factors that influence consumer behavior. Then they can use this knowledge to fill in the gap of the marketplace by offering products that fulfill customer needs. Third, the application of this segmentation, targeting, and positioning STP marketing model, and the 10 pricing strategies in marketing with concrete examples. This helps us to divert the marketers from others, so that the consumers will know that immediately knowing that this brand is different from another. Last but not least, the 5 stages of consumer decision-making process, as well as the 4 factors that influence consumer purchasing decision. So that's all for our webinar today. This is the references. Thank you, and we hope that you can benefit from this webinar.